Hello.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hi.
Paul. Hi, Ben. Hi, Anthony. Hope you
Hi,
can hear
Markus.
me and the sound is
W-
good.
We do hear
Yes.
you.
Okay,
That's cool.
excellent. Thank you.
Thank you for being
Me
here.
too.
So cool to have
Yeah,
you too.
thank you, guys.
So we're just waiting a little bit to wait for
Correct.
our audiences to connect, even if we know that it's not in live that most of the content are being watched. Will be rewatched after replay on several
Sure.
platforms. But
Yeah.
still, for the people who want to attend, we're going to wait a little bit. Um, I'm just going to say some words about Museum Week while we're waiting. So, because it's a very important day today devoted to innovation for cultural and social impact, which is the general theme of Museum Week. I just want to explain the genesis and the reason to be of this theme. We have to face it. We live in a hyper-connected world, hyper-globalized. Our thoughts are modified online. Our hopes are built online. Um, and especially for the young audiences, I mean, their uh, brain is structured online, it's forged online, right? So depending on the world that we have online, we define the world that we have in the physical world. So we think that museums are key here because they can bring key content to give, the keys to understand the world, to read the world, to build more resilient societies. I just wanted to say this word because online today, the ecosystem of museums, and I include into this galleries, archives, science centers, music centers, even artists and creative digital creators have a fundamental role to play here. And I will add this also. Museum Week is not only an event, it's a community that is led by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and others, but really worldwide objectives and challenges. We think that we want, before change, in order to change the world physically, we need to change minds. We need to change the narratives. And we are proud to announce today that we will launch soon a membership program. And we will invite, all professionals to join us. But let's go now to the fun part of it, which is a conversation with great guests. So just again, as a brief introduction, you may have heard that NFTs are shaking the world of art and culture. Sorry, you heard about the initiative from the Belvedere, from the British Museum, from the Hermitage. You might also have heard that there is a brick and mortar museum in Seattle that was created to host NFTs, work of arts. So everybody's speaking about that. So the question of today is NFTs in museums. Is it the deal? Is it already closed? I mean, are we going towards it? So I have the pleasure to welcome. I hope I will pronounce it well, Markus Wiesenhofer. Wiesenhofer.
Yes, excellent.
Cool.
Great
From the
German.
Belvedere, thank you. From the Belvedere Museum in Vienna, who is in charge of the comms and strategy. You will tell us more about that. And Anthony Trabaud, he was the CEO of the Crypto for Arts company. Markus, could you just briefly introduce yourself, explain to our audiences, your background, how did you got there, what is your motivation in life? I mean, in a nutshell, please.
Sure, absolutely. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Ben, for having us. I hope that the sound isn't too bad. You will hear 300 years of Baroque architecture, and I may take my smartphone here to give you the joy of a quick overview of what this is like. I'm just sitting here in our galleries of the Upper Belvedere, um, and what I'd like you to see is here this beautiful day overlooking the city of Vienna, just to give you a quick idea and share this joy why I still like to work in this beautiful museum setting every day when I wake up. I'm really motivated, to bring the joy of the arts to the people. and I'm deputy head of communication and marketing here in the Belvedere Museum in Vienna, Austria. And yeah, I'm happy to join in the conversation.
Thank you, Markus. Wow. Thank you for the view also. And yeah, that's a very good answer to motivation. Anthony, please.
Yes, and thank you also, Markus. Yeah, good image that is worth 1,000 words. And thank you also, Benjamin, for welcoming us. It's really an honor to be a speaker today at the Museum Week, and especially during the Innovation Day. And I'm Anthony. My background is the one of machine learning engineer, and I'm passionate also about Web3 and about blockchain technologies. And I'm one of the founders of this dream, this big project, Crypto for Art. And I would say, just in one sentence, that my specific goal and task is to find the most relevant features in Web3 and blockchain technologies that could benefit to museums. And of course, we'll have the occasion to get a bit deeper into it in a sec.
Sure. Thank you, Anthony, and welcome. Glad to have you on board too.
Thank you.
My first question to the both of you, actually, what is an NFT? What is a non-fungible token? I mean, does it burn? What is that? And could you just explain? Maybe Markus, you can try to give it a try, and
Yeah,
then Anthony.
well, we have here both sides of the equation. I'm talking from the perspective of a museum guy, and maybe Anthony can much more go into detail on the technical side. But just in general, if you haven't ever come across an NFT, it's a digital file that is not exchangeable to anything else, and as opposed to a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Ethereum or others, an NFT, a non-fungible token, is something unique. And in this regard, it's a specific part of a blockchain entry and gives you a certificate of ownership. So that's in very simple words how I understand it. But Anthony, please help here from the technical side.
So it's a very interesting way to describe it, because first, very generally, I would say this is just a unique digital asset that you cannot send twice. Okay, this is a real definition of cryptocurrencies if you read the original paper of Bitcoin, actually. And the main difference with NFTs is that each one is really unique. That's why we call them non-fungible. But what it means, and your question about is it art behind it, I very like to compare it to photography. Like, if you try to describe what is photography, you will probably go also into technical details to say how does it work and what can we capture with it and everything. But we also know that this is just a tool that we can leverage to create art. And I consider that NFTs are exactly the same. It's originally indeed a technology, but it has in its own codes, and we can use them as art. If you read the definition of photography, you will see the first thing is art, actually, is the art of doing something. So,
Interesting.
So that's really the link, and that's why I think we are here today.
And tell me just one question. So an NFT is not a work of art per se. It's the certificate of digital creation, right? Well, this
Definitely.
is what is new. Yes. So the NFT per se is not art. It's just the certificate that tells you that this digital object is mine, is yours, or whatever, right?
Exactly.
So an NFT, let's be clear. Okay, so that's cool. Okay, so I hope it helped clarify a little bit what we're talking about here. Markus, I have some questions. First of all, about the Belvedere. In a nutshell, what's its reason to be? I mean, I would say that it's very embodied into classical, right? We are in the Majesty, we are in classical. And suddenly we hear about the Belvedere NFTs. Whoa! So let's go back to the essence of the Belvedere Museum. What is it about? What is reason to be?
Yeah, well, for those of you who haven't been visiting Vienna and the Belvedere, I might just, give you an outset what the Belvedere is. We are the Austrian Gallery Belvedere, the National Gallery of the Republic of Austria. So really housing um, art from the medieval times up to contemporary art on 3 different locations. So we are really a relatively large museum, also on international standards, and a very old one, actually one of the oldest museums worldwide. In the 1800s already, it was open to the public, and that's why we understand our institution as an open institution, open to a lot of different communities, a lot of different audiences, and also trying to share this cultural heritage with a lot of different means. And besides the physical visiting of a museum, we've seen specifically in the pandemic, in a tremendous crisis situation for the whole museums world and the society at large, how important it is also to offer digital means to enjoy the art, to learn about art. So that's why we decided really to reinforce all our activities in the field of digital, even more in the last 2 years. So besides being a museum that is promoting our cultural heritage in an open content policy, so we are very outspoken in offering our cultural assets openly to the public. And we are also doing a lot in the way of art education, of trying to communicate the arts via various formats. So you will find on all major channels, obviously, our videos, our content. We have our collection very much digitized, that you can see and also even download a lot of the images that are IP free. But in addition to that, we in the last year talked about internally intensively about how can we approach this new technology and how can we engage with younger and more international audiences. While the museum is closed partly, we have seen that this is a big opportunity for us to engage with younger and international audiences through the
That's
NFT.
interesting. If I may jump on that last idea, was it during the pandemic that the NFT, the Klimt Kiss NFT project was born? Or yes, it was?
Yes, it was. Actually, the NFT, I mean, it is a somewhat a technology that emerged in the recent years, but really in the last year, obviously the hype was big. You mentioned some of the examples on a global level. There were only really a few museums like the Hermitage in the Uffizi in Italy and the British Museum that dived, started with their first project last year. And then we were the first one basically in the German-speaking world, and one of the first ones globally that started with it in this February. Yes.
So let's describe this NFT. I mean, the KISS NFT project. What can you just in one sentence? What was it about? What did you do?
Sure. I've also entered in the chat. You've seen the kiss.art. So anybody who wants to see the quick video maybe and check out the website, you get a good description of that. Very briefly to tell you about it. The Kiss by Gustav Klimt is the masterpiece of our collection. We've decided to go with this masterpiece with our first NFT project. We really see it as a first step into metaverse and the NFT scene. We are in it for the long term. It's a project that we've decided to do with a startup company in Vienna, who was the first company in Austria who set up an art NFT art fall. So ArtQ, the name of the company, they were the partners in this project, setting up the technical side of it and doing the marketing together with us. So what we did essentially is taking this masterpiece and taking a high resolution image of it. So basically every visitor can take an image, but not in that high definition quality that we could do. It's a long procedure, taking a high resolution image of the KISS painting. Because the KISS has never been traded or sold and will never be, because it's such a national heritage, landmark masterpiece. So we've decided to take a high resolution image and divide this digital image into 10,000 tiles with specific coordinates. And you could buy one tile, but not a specific one. That's the gamification part of it, because we decided we wanted to have an interactive, gamified approach to the NFT world, and not taking just an edition, but on the contrary, really having revealed every week on Friday night which actually part you will get from it. And then we added.
So you didn't know. So sorry to interrupt, because
Sure.
So you decide to buy one on 10,000 of the masterpiece, and you don't know which one you bought, right? You just discover on Friday.
Friday night is reveal night, so there's a surprise factor in it. And you won't know until Friday night. You can buy up to 5 pieces per purchase in the wallet. The price is 1,850 euros, or equivalent to 0.65 Ethereum. You can buy via Ethereum or via regular credit card, PayPal, bank transfer. And if you buy this tile, you are also able to add dedication, a love declaration, because we launched it through Valentine's Day, because it's really the most famous image of love.
Course.
So
that's
people
true.
Enjoy dedicating this piece to a loved one, and we show it in the museum. Just right next to me, there's the big screen where you see those love declarations, and people are coming to the museum, seeing their piece, their individual piece with the love declaration, and they really enjoy that as well.
So just what? Sorry, that's very exciting, very interesting. So the owners, can they have in their pocket, I mean, in their smartphone, can they show the piece that they bought? I mean, yes.
Yes, they will show it. They have their wallet. I mean, you need a wallet, which is a digital wallet that you have to set up in order to manage your assets, your digital assets. So once you have the wallet set up, you're ready to go to purchase and buy an NFT. And in the wallet, you will see that transfer once it's allocated to you, and you can show it on all different devices. And I've actually just heard that Instagram will soon launch an NFT mode where you can see the art collection on Instagram. You know, a lot of platforms are now starting to show and add options for NFT collectors to show it, because essentially that's what it's about. You want to share your art collection and show it to others.
Very interesting. So several questions here. Why? How come a 300-year-old institution, classical institution, I mean, decided to go to the Web3? Is it the COVID? Is it pure communication? Is it a fundraising operation? Is it all that? What was the trigger?
Yeah, there's actually different aspects that you mentioned already, all playing together. But in an essence, our museum strives to be a museum that matters. So, and staying relevant to society and to younger audiences as well. And large parts go via digital means. So we have to adapt to modern times and new digital communication features, and also developments like the metaverse. So in order to redefine constantly the museum in a new setting and with new audiences, we also decided to take this brave step with a first project into the NFT world.
Very interesting. I have a last question on this project, unless some people in the audience want to interact. But Did you face negative reaction in the world of museum? I mean, did some conservative, with all the respect, of course, do you see conservative reactions? I mean, people saying, "Oh, we should not do that," even in the museum, and which is, I mean, it's part of the debate. I mean, I remember that 20 years ago, people were discussing, "Are we going to do website or not?" So was it the same internally and with your colleague, with your peers beyond the museum?
Yeah, Benjamin. Actually, because here the title of our discussion, it's not at all a closed deal. I mean, it's a very open
Wait, that's
discussion.
the
Actually,
conclusion. That's the
yeah,
conclusion.
it's really the conclusion. It's a very open discussion because it's a very dynamic field. There's all kinds of different opinions about it, and the market developments show us at the moment that the markets are down in general for NFTs and for crypto specifically.
Yes.
So what I mentioned already, we are an institution that is planning long term. We are here for 300 years, and we are very much planning to be around for the next 300. And we are, part of our digital strategy is really taking step-by-step approaches to new technologies, and we believe in this new technology. Of course, there's also critical questions regarding sustainability, regarding in general how a museum should offer their content. But as I said, it's not either or, it's both. We all offer open content, but we also open commercialized content, I would say, in this case, NFT content, to other target audiences. And I think a museum could do both and should do both.
Interesting.
Act as a commercial agent, but also act as a public institution very responsibly. I mean, we had obviously legal support, we had technical support in helping us as a museum institution to get acquainted in this highly dynamic field. So it's still a very
it was not a letter.
Yeah.
It was not a letter in a mailbox. I mean, it
absolutely was no easy project.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of museums keep asking us about it. How did we do it? Because I see a worldwide recognition of our project. People are now really realizing, okay, there's a hot topic, and there's only few museums who did it, and they're really approaching us on what they can learn from it. And
of course,
even us, we are learning every day. That's Web3, together with our technical partners.
Definitely interesting. Markus, thank you very much. Anthony, we're curious about, now we had the public institution, a look on the things, and now on the private sector. It's very interesting to have you here. Thank you very much. So you are the CEO of the company Crypto for Arts. You're going to explain us maybe in a nutshell, what is it about? What's the reason to use Crypto for Arts?
Sure. And before doing so, I just want to say that this is that there are tons of ideas in order to work between museums and Web3 technologies. We, of course, have a very strong vision of it, and we have our own tools that we are developing. But I really hope this kind of talks can inspire more people on both sides to develop a lot of tools and to bridge the gap between these two industries. So specifically at Crypto for Arts, what we want to do is quite simple. You are a museum, you want to restore a masterpiece. Well, usually you go to ask to all your patrons to chip in, to finance it. Well, we offer them a new way to do it with blockchains, meaning if we really start at the beginning to make it super simple, let's imagine that for each donation of your patrons, you will give a thank you card, and to each one of them. Well, in our case, this thank you card could be an NFT. And why is it interesting? It's because you can resell it. So it's a very strong new feature to be able to resell a donation. And each time you resell it, the museum would get a royalty out of it. So this is, again, I'm trying to start from what museums are doing right now and see how we integrate Web3 technologies. Then this specific NFT could be one of the representations of the piece of art itself. So it could be done by one of the curators of the museum itself, or by a young artist. So just like this, you have a young artist that is creating digital art to then finance a restoration project for a museum and for a piece of art that has been here, that has been around for centuries. So you link directly, you create a new experience where you link directly different generations. And this is very strong. And this is something that NFTs and Web3 technologies are allowing us to do and that we have to explore. And of course, then I won't go into details because I think it's clear, but you can create a new experience. Like with your NFT, you can go to the museum and you can maybe, for example, follow in the physical world, I mean, like the restoration project, and maybe have some advantages, just like it's happening nowadays with patrons for each museum. So this is exactly
what you mean.
Yeah.
Sorry, Anthony, what you mean is very, I mean, if I understand correctly, what you mean is very interesting, because it means that you not only you make an NFT, but you build a community around it, right?
Exactly. The community around the cause, and we build the whole experience with the museum to bring a new audience and develop a new generation to the museum.
Very interesting. So what about crypto for arts?
So what about it? So crypto for arts, yes. So this is exactly what we want to put in place. And very concretely, we exchange with museums. So we check a specific restoration project that they would have. We create a digital version of a physical piece. We create the digital version, and then we create a whole collection with variations out of it. We sell it, and this way we fundraise for the original, the physical masterpiece that we want to restore. And we bring our
wait. You went too fast for me. You went too fast. I'm from the ancient world. Come on. So you ask, I'm a museum. I have a painting at home. You come, you arrive, you scan it very HD or whatever. Then what's going on with this digital asset? Because suddenly it became digital. So what do you do with that?
With this digital asset, I have some young artists that are coming and creating a lot of variations of this asset. Okay,
so
they will add some colors on one of them, they will add some sunglasses on another one, and they create a whole collection, which is, none of them is representing the masterpiece itself. Okay, it's very important. None of them gives to the holder any right on the physical piece. This is very important. And then, so it's a tribute. Each NFT will be a tribute to the original masterpiece, and this will create a whole community around this piece to restore. And this is only one way to do it, of course. We are talking sometimes about creating the different versions of the masterpiece from the current state to the restored state, and to follow like this. So there are many ways to do it, but this is the base for us.
Okay, so that's very interesting. So you digitize a work of art, and you ask two artists to hack it, right? I mean, you send them and say, do whatever you want to do it, tweak it, change it, Photoshop, Premiere, whatever, and then you launch a new market with the creation that was made, and then these new work of arts are being sold. And one thing is going to the museum and one percentage to the artist. Is that correct?
It's exactly this, and it's also, as I said, a very strong way to link these
and also to link. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, to remember that this was restored this year for that.
And how? I mean, when you bring these ideas into the museums, how do people react? I mean, do they say what? What do they say? I mean, what's the reaction? I mean, so who do you speak with in the museums, by the way? Who do you speak with? Marketing, communication, head of...
No, I always speak to the patronage the departments, and And usually now, I mean, these days, let's say, because a year ago NFTs were a bit less famous, of course. So these days they no, they love it. They love the idea. They understand it. They know. I mean, ask Markus, but no, they realize it's this is the future, and it's they have to go there at some point. Also, we understood it during COVID that it was important to have a digital presence online. And so I think this is not about if, it's more about when. But then, as Markus really rightly said it, it's a whole process. It's a lot of work behind it. And we're talking about institutions. Very often it has to go to the cultural departments of the government. I mean, to agree to give the green light for some projects. So it's not something that happens like this.
In a snap, yes.
But yes, it will happen. It will happen for sure.
Okay, so before I ask you another question, Anthony, so what I understand from both of you is that NFTs, so it's not only communications, of course, because it's also a way to fund. I mean, and God knows that this is important. It's also a way to make community management. I mean, it's not through like on a social media platform, but that is a community management. But the thing is that you manage patrons and donors, but it's a community. It's a new way to animate this community. So that's very interesting. So it changed totally the part of the relation with the audiences and with the donors. So that's very interesting. Anthony, I think we understood what Crypto for Arts is doing. What will you be in 5 years and 10 years? What are your developments, your horizon? Where will you be in 10 years?
So we really wanted to go to the end of the logic of the restoration of masterpieces, and we believe it is possible with the same kind of processes to recreate pieces of art, meaning not only to restore them, but to have a community to support recreation of masterpieces. And we really believe this will be possible. And
So it looks like we have a technical problem here. Sorry. Trying to re-invite Markus. And Anthony. Okay, we
Hello.
got, hey again. Sorry, there was an interruption. I don't know where it comes from. I mean, let's,
Sorry, was it only me or was
no, I
there
don't think
no
so. I mean,
interruption?
both of you went off. I don't know what
Okay.
happened. I was still, it's okay.
Okay.
We will edit the file. It's all right.
Yeah. All right.
Let me
Sorry, I
try.
thought it was the Wi-Fi. Uh-huh. Missing.
Anthony, where are you? Anthony, where are you? I don't find him.
Hmm.
Okay, maybe he's here. No. Maybe he went. Anthony, are you here? If you would like to send a request to connect, please.
Hmm.
No. So we're going to continue because I don't see him online actually.
Yeah.
So let's continue. Maybe he will join.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. I mean, because we have tools that change, a tool that changes the way we receive the relationship with others, donors, and even the general audience when you sell the NFT the NFT keys. That's a new way to engage. That's a new way to fund the museum. And I my question at the beginning was is it an already closed deal? Why? I remember that 20 years ago. Maybe Anthony's, yeah, he wants to join. He has a problem. I think he will join with his personal account, it looks like. 20 years ago. Hi, Anthony. You back?
No.
Yes, yes. Sorry, the other account was just logged
All
out
right.
for
It's
some
okay.
reason.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. So I was just, trying to conclude a little bit about what we learned because it was very interesting conversation about this
Yeah.
new way to engage with audience, new way to found a museum, new way to animate a community, new way to animate an ecosystem online. Artists, we heard it with Anthony, with the donors, with the artist community. I mean, this is a powerful tool that we have here. So when I wrote this, the question, is it already a closed deal? I was remembering that in 2000, when I was working in the museum, people were saying, are we going to do website? If we do website, people will stop coming. So let's think before that. Of course, it's easy. I mean, now we know that, of course you should. The same question with Web 2. Are we going to open a social media account? Are we going to spread our content onto the platforms, on YouTube and Dailymotion, on social media? We send our content, our cultural heritage is being spoiled. This is the kind of sentence that was heard into the cultural institution, Then, many years later, people are there, the institution, because people are there, the individuals are there, and it's a new way to engage, it's a new way to, and we know that showing a picture of the Mona Lisa just give the will to go and see the painting, not to throw anything on it. But that's so actually it's a tribute. All these copies are a tribute. So the question is to both of you: is it already a closed deal? That are we going to? I mean, museums are going towards NFT. There is no way that they can escape this, and by extension toward the Web3, including metaverse, or there are still too much uncertainty. This is, I think, what's interesting here. How far are we in the development, in the security, in the trust, I would say, in the system? Markus, you want to say something about that?
Yeah, sure. I can not agree more what you said about, that I think there's an internal law here in general in communication and with media. I mean, it's only adding up. I mean, we've seen, after the telephone, TV, radio, all the new means of technology adding up. And we see it really as an opportunity for the museum to attract people to the original. I mean, we do all these digital means in the end that they are one day coming to the museum. For a long time in the last 2 years, they couldn't come. So it was an opportunity for them to relate to the artwork anyway. But essentially, when I would buy an NFT of an artwork, I would really long to go to that museum and see the original. And that's what we are hoping for with the NFT project. And
Cool.
I cannot say if all museums should go into the NFT world. From what I see and from my learning, I see it as a great opportunity for museums. Of course, they need to be, very responsible with their cultural heritage. It is a very new and developing field. So of course, there is issues related to it. But if you are careful and responsible in acting, in an execution, I think it's a great opportunity to stay relevant to younger audiences. I'd just like to share, one quick anecdote. We've heard from one of the NFT buyers, who is this Gustav Klimt and how long does he do NFT now? So there's even NFT, lovers out there who collect pieces of collectibles in NFT, but don't really know Gustav Klimt. But at least for this person, we found a new way of connecting, the classical art and NFTs. So there again, there's a big opportunity for museums, and I can only encourage more institutions and more people to engage with that, because it's an exciting new technology.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you for this great comment here, Markus. Maybe one day we will have in the next weeks, the chance to have you again and speak about, metaverse. That would be, also, which is another topic, I would say, socially speaking, for the institution and so on. But thank you. It's very, very, very interesting about NFTs. Anthony, is it NFTs? It's Johann Sebastian Bach. Everything is written, and it's going the way. This is the way that, I mean, everybody's going to be like the dominoes. Everybody's going to fall on that, or is there? How cautiously should museums go with NFTs, according to you?
Of course, there are many risks behind it. I won't hide it, and I won't try to pretend it's all everything is beautiful in this world. And I think one of the biggest challenges is around ownership, because we are very often talking about public goods, like public pieces of art. So I think one of the main risks is to not to be careful with all of this, with the intellectual property that is behind each NFT. So this is one big risk, of course. But apart from that, it's more than overall, it's more than an opportunity. It's, I would say, an empowerment, because what is a museum? I don't think this is just a list of masterpieces. It's an experience. And it's nowadays a physical experience. Actually, many museums started to make it also a digital experience. And we realized again how it was useful during COVID. But I think there is not a competition between these two worlds. They have to work hand by hand, and overall it's just about providing a new type of experience. As I told you before, it was the end of my previous comment that I couldn't make. It's also, for the museums are not only about the past, it's also about the future, right? We were talking about recreating art, right? So this is more general than this. It's about an experience, a whole experience, and this is why I think this new world will only bring opportunities.
Very interesting comment also, Tony. Very, very, very interesting. It's very powerful. I like all the ideas. I like also what you mentioned about what is a museum, because it helps answer to what we should do, what we could do. What is a museum today? I mean,
I would like to add just a quick comment. It's that I don't imagine that one day people will be like, should we go to the museum, like the physical one, and say, oh no, let's just go online. Actually, it's, you understand, this okay, there is a
Of course.
competition between these two worlds, but it's an experience to go there.
Yes, and also maybe one thing also could be to not to be in a dualism thing where there is the physical by opposition to the virtual, but it's one thing. The museum is extending online. It has walls. It offers things in the physical world, and its reason to be is translated, I would say, in the digital world. So, and this the gathering is the museum. This is why I like, what is a museum? So if you agree that the definition of museum is extending to the digital world, then yeah, it's very okay to do this kind of things and to engage and to try new ways to find a way to fundraise, to engage. And this is yeah, I think it's do you have I just wanted to know if
Markus was
sorry?
mentioning also. Markus was mentioning the gamification behind
Yes.
the collection that the Belvedere did, and I think this is also the key. It's not just because they are fan of the gaming industry. It's of course because of the engagement is very important with your audience, and again we are still in this very experience that museums are creating and that Web3 is allowing all of us to create. So this is really the next step, I think.
Okay, that's very interesting. Just maybe at the conclusion. So first of all, thank you to the both of you because it's was very fruitful conversation. I wish we could make another talk about Web3 and metaverse just to see that. I would like to end with a sentence that unfortunately I don't know where I heard it, so I don't know to give the credit, but I find it interesting in the conversation and it feeds. It nourishes, I think, the purpose of MuseumWeek and Global Institution. The sentence is this one: the future is hard to predict because the past cannot stop changing. Meaning, the look on the past cannot stop changing. And I think that with digital, it helps also online to watch things from the past and to change what's going to happen. So it's something that that might be interesting to chew. But thank you very much to both of you. It was a great talk. I think we said we would talk 15 minutes maximum. We went we went further, so that's cool. Thank you very much. Hi, everybody, to the audiences, and have a great museum week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Great pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Take good care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.